So, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I'm getting a little nervous because this Aidan guy is like pretty charismatic. And like, if he realizes that if he launches a podcast, he's going to put us out of business. Like, I'm not competing against him week to week if he's got his own podcast. I'm just folding this thing up because.
Welcome to RC Underground Radio.
We're racing toy cars here.
If you've been looking for a podcast that talks about one RC tracks, suppliers, and events, then you're in the right place.
I haven't changed my underwear since the Kenman. I'm not kidding.
I'm
not kidding. It's the same.
I didn't want to go there.
It's this.
And we're glad you're here. Now, here are your hosts, Ryan Retzloff and David Brinkman.
I am a BB in a boxcar.
Well, welcome once again to the RC Underground Radio. Everything is back where it belongs. I got the co-host, the talent, Ryan Retzloff. Ryan, thanks for being back on the show.
Whew, it feels so good to be back. I like doing the shows and then listening to them because I love to hear myself. But hearing other people has been actually a lot of fun. You know, we had Miss Bella on, I got a huge trip out of her. Like, she was a rock star. Very well spoken at 15 years old. Yeah, super talented. I started following a lot of her stuff and really awesome. And then just the other day, I got to listen to George and Nick, my brothers, and provided some really good insight on the Midwestern. So that was super fun. But it's great to be back. It's like a 2-week hiatus. I'm not sure what I'm even supposed to be doing right now, so I'm just going to rattle on.
Tonight, we are going to talk some more off-road racing. We had young man, Aidan Ridgeway, reached out and said, hey, you guys are kind of talking some off-road. Love to jump on if I could. And I said, hey, bring it. And then we are going to talk Midwestern 400. We're going to wrap that up because we're going to have the Midwestern 400 winner, Dalton Hawbaker, that came 7 hours from Iowa to come race with us.
I still can't believe that.
Yeah, but until then, you got a lot coming up this weekend. So let's talk about what you got going.
Yeah, sure do. We've got we're wrapping things up at Attitude Raceway this weekend in Waupun, and this is our big 2-day show. So a lot going on. We're going to have a raffle to benefit Randy Yerke. Going to be pretty darn cool. We're going to have cash for RC out there on Saturday. So if you got stuff you want to sell and get rid of, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to do that. We've got this is crazy, a 200-lap enduro in stock SR10s, the Team Associated SR10s, which is going to be unbelievable. Everybody makes the show. I don't know how this is going to go, but yes, I did buy a car, and yes, I'm going to participate in that. So I'm really, really looking forward to hanging out with the guys there for that. Just going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So in a crazy busy weekend.
Nice.
Wrapped up everything at Trackside a couple weeks ago for their summer series. I finished 5th in points out of like 7 or 8 cars. So, but getting ready for the winter series there, starting October 15th. Super pumped about that. Made a lot of good friends at that track, and really feel kind of part of the family now. So it's going to be good stuff. I'm looking forward to what we got coming up here. And then on top of it, we have all this 1RC racing, which, I needed to shake the dust off. And, the race last weekend, the Midwestern 400, although I was your fast qualifier, I was only fast for 1 lap. And after that, it was all just a giant dumpster fire. So I'm sure we'll be talking more with Dalton about how that all went. And, maybe he can pick on me a little bit.
Well, let's start off. We got a young man coming on the program tonight, Aidan Ridgeway. He runs off-road buggies and truggies. So let's get ready to talk to him. Let's officially welcome Aidan Ridgeway.
Yeah. Well, welcome, Aidan.
What's going on, guys?
You're running. You're like. Let me ask you this first question. How old are you, buddy?
14 years old. I'll be 15 in December.
14. Man, I remember those days.
Just think how good you'd be, Ryan, if you've been racing RC since 14.
Yeah, no kidding. If I had that kind of money I have now, when I was 14, yeah, absolutely, I'd be out there running that stuff. But I couldn't afford all that stuff, man. That gets a little pricey, doesn't it? Running all over, I bet.
Oh, it's like we're getting in a little bit of pickle where we're trying to figure out what big races we want to go to, which ones we don't want to go to. It's just kind of like it's just getting to where it's a toss up now.
So where is your local track, your club race? Where do you go for all that?
Our local track is down here in Loganville, Georgia. It's Loganville RC Complex. It's like, I don't know, we've been going there ever since 2021. So it's just kind of been my home track.
Okay.
And, when we've been as far for like big races, we've been as far as like, we went to South Carolina, I know, Tennessee, Florida, Alabama, just not too far, kind of, not like more than 10 hours out or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to have to jump on a plane and do all that.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about what kind of classes you're running and, let's talk a little bit about, your cars, divisions you run.
All right. So big races, ever since we started going to them, we started out running intermediate because the second we put in a sponsorship for Techno, that's the car I run.
Okay.
We put in a sponsorship before SIC 2022 and they said, try and hit a few more big races. We'll see where he stacks up. Just run intermediate, just, to see where he does stack up at overall. So first big race, qualifying's over. I land, C main, I think, like mid C main, or no, top of the C main in intermediate E-buggy, and mid B main in E-truck. The morning of mains day, that Sunday, I woke up to my dad screaming to me, Aidan, you're on the Techno team. Wake up, you're on the team.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, give me a minute. I'm like just waking up. But
that's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. But since then we've been doing intermediate at the big national races, and then at club races we'll run pro.
How many cars are you typically competing with in, say, the main event?
In the main, it's usually, I think most of the time it's 15. At big races, at club races, I think they do like 10 to 12, just since it's a smaller track.
Okay. And then how do they seat those mains? Is it based on your time in earlier heat races, or does it actually go down to like, say, a semi and so many cars transfer?
Really, at club races, you'll have 2 rounds of qualifying, and it's rocket round. So whatever round is your fastest, it'll take that round and stack it up against everyone else's, and just put it in order of who had the fastest run throughout those 2 rounds. At big races, you'll have 3, and instead of rocket round, it'll be qual points. So it'll take your best finish overall, and then it'll take your 2 best finishes, not your best, just your 2 best, combine those points, and then just seat you where, just where the points are either tied or, you're one up on another guy or one lower than another guy.
So you got to help me out, Aidan. I'm serious. I'm 42 years old, and I'm like my first full year into this. Okay, and so I run dirt oval. I can't do jumps. I haven't got and I'm probably never will just because I don't have the talent for it. Okay, so I'm trying to master one thing at a time, buddy. But there's so much out there now. You said you're running e-buggy, e-truggy, right?
E-buggy, e-truggy, and then we also have a nitro buggy and nitro truggy.
All right, so let's just talk about for a minute, because you got to help me. You got to help educate me here. We know that Techno makes the awesome chassis. I see them. Mm-hmm. I see the guys. I'll run trackside on the dirt oval, but I see a lot of guys there in the off-road course, and that is a very popular brand. It's very high-end, good stuff, and I'm sure you can talk more to that.
Yeah.
But I'm big on the electronic side of it, right? Motors, batteries, speed controls. Can you tell me what the hot setup is right now for what you guys are doing? The motors. Right. Who's got the best motor out there? What are the best batteries out there that you see?
In my opinion, Pekin makes just the best electronics known, just on the planet.
Okay.
I think we're running the Gen 3 ESC or speed control in the e-buggy and e-truggy, and then in the e-buggy I think we're running a 1900 kV motor. And then battery wise, if I'm being completely honest, we found this website that was like buy two get two free, and we just been using those ever since then.
No
But
kidding.
they're good batteries though. Like,
And
I'm
you've
not
been
even
cleaning
gonna lie.
house with them, huh?
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing. That's the testament to talent, right? Because you got guys like me who I'll go out and I'll drop $150 on a battery because it's got low internal resistance, so on and so forth, and I'm not any faster, So it just goes to show, how talent really can take over, and you can take some maybe lesser quality stuff, but it gets expensive too, and batteries are a big cost. Especially when you got to have 4 or 5 of them in your bag, ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Now, Ryan, you just admitted you'll spend $150 on a battery. Now, do you want that edited out, or are you good?
No,
with that?
leave it in, man. Because I'm an idiot when it comes to this stuff. I just see, that looks cool. Everybody, okay, yeah, I'll take that.
Your wife listens. Just a reminder, your wife listens.
She's okay with it. She knows.
We do want to get to trying the Tekin batteries that they make.
Mm-hmm.
We just haven't gotten to buying those yet, and we just keep stocking up on those cheap ones that we find. So
They work.
until
they work.
yeah, they do work. I'm not even gonna lie. So whatever works, I guess.
You got to talk to them about doing a private label or something and come out with Ridgeway batteries, right?
There you
Start
go.
selling them puppies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reach out, marketing, my brother, marketing.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've tried some of the Trinity batteries back when they were Trinity. Pretty good. Their white carbon stuff's good. R1 also makes a pretty good battery that I've found pretty successful so far. Aidan, I'm curious, at 14 years old, you've been doing this for a hot minute now.
A little over 2.5 years.
That's incredible, and you're already sponsored. But let's talk a little bit. I'm curious about some of your accomplishments and some of the big stuff that you've nailed down thus far.
So the first big win was at the Georgia Peach State Classic last year. It was me and there was 4 guys, me and 3 other guys that were over the entire 10 minutes, not even more than a second out from each other. The entire 10 minutes. So coming in, I think a minute left, the leader makes a mistake, and I was already tailing second, so I pull in on him a little bit, and then the leader's right in front of him, and we still have a 4-car race. Final 30 seconds, the leader flips over and has to be marshaled. Me in second place slip on by. So time clock goes off. It's just me and the guy who's right in front of me. Into the last 3 turns, near the last 3 turns, there's this tabletop that you kind of have to float over. He tries to cut me off on the inside, so he goes a little too far to the pipe and catches the pipe and kind of bounces around. So I jump right over him and just slip on by to the finish line, the last 2 corners, I think.
Way to stay patient. He was mirror driving, as they say, right? And kind of trying to anticipate what you were going to do. And here he goes and makes a mistake. That's awesome.
I do that all the time, so I can't even blame him for doing that.
I'm guilty of it too. Yep. What's that guy going to do? I'm looking at him.
God, I'm there was another one. This is kind of going off the accomplishment part of this. This year in Phil Hurd, there's a racetrack in Savannah. Mm-hmm. I was running nitro, right? And the last corner of the last lap, I had third. They were doing top 5 podium, but I had third. 4th is coming up on me like a dog. They were flying up on me. So the last 2 corners, I thought he was going to try and dive inside on me. So I go inside, catch the pipe, and flip over. I'm like, oh, whatever, just get me to the line. And then as soon as he crosses the line, he's out of fuel. And I'm like, come on, why didn't you do that while you were behind me? Then I wouldn't have had to worry about any of that.
Hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes,
That Peach State Classic win was my first big win, and the fact that it was an intermediate probably made it a lot better. another huge accomplishment was this year at Buggyland in Florida. I started fourth in open nitro buggy, second in open e-buggy, and TQ'd open e-truck. Come main day, I win both mains of e-truck, win both mains of e-buggy, and win the nitro main. So I ended up coming home with a clean sweep, winning all of my mains, and sucks that I missed out on those 2 TQs, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Let's take that P1. Let's take that trophy home. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Great job on that. A subject that just fascinates me, and I could talk about it all day. Now that I know about it, so I want to hear your perspective on it, is air control. Like, tell me a little bit more. We got into this conversation with Bella a couple weeks ago, but tell me from your perspective and like, what is that like?
It's really all about just setting up for the next corner. All right, let's say you have a tabletop that goes right into like a left-hand turn. What you want to do, really, in most situations when you go over that tabletop, you want to whip your car to the left, so like get the wheels turning right, so it'll level it out, so like you'll go like this in the air, and then right as you land, get on the go left on your wheel just to get that corner. So it's just like kind of smooth and just lands.
To me, that's just so fascinating that you're manipulating the air and turning the wheels and, hitting the throttle a little bit and just doing all that, almost like an airplane, right? You're flying like a pilot.
I've gotten to the point where I'm starting to like hit the brake in the air and then get on the throttle again to keep those front wheels down, just to make sure the landing's just a little more smooth than just whipping it and not hitting the brake.
That's just crazy, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, it's like a lot of work. It's one more thing that I'd probably screw up. Be honest
there's some jumps at these big races that get so blown out that, like, there was one at the Peach State last month that it was this tabletop. If you went over it, your car was like almost upside down, like just going over it. So if you whip it, you can see how clean your chassis is or how dirty it is, whichever one.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Unbelievable.
And sometimes it's pretty sick to see your car fully upside down like that. Like I can't even lie.
No doubt. And I watch guys. So again, Wisconsin boy, we got trackside hobbies up here. I'm sure you've maybe have heard of it.
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's kind of a world renowned track. Jamie Tennis owns that, and he does. He's got his team associated nationals coming up, off-road championships coming up, and I watch those guys practice. So when dirt oval's going, guys are practicing, and it is unbelievable to me. You not only do you have multiple turns, you have jumps. Your air control, all of that stuff you guys are processing in your head so darn quickly. It just blows my mind, to watch those cars go around the track. And I love watching the stuff on like Live RC and, just seeing it, what goes into it. It's unbelievable what you guys are having to do throughout a race.
Oh yeah, it's fun once you get the hang of it. Like the second you pick it up, you're having the time of your life out there. You're just living the dream racing toy cars.
Yeah,
like my mom all the time goes to work and she's like, oh yeah, my son races toy cars. They're thinking it's the ones from Walmart that you buy for like $5 with the little stick controller. They show them my mom shows them a picture and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Aidan, you got to help me out here, man, because I have a very technical background. I enjoy that stuff. I love setting up a car and knowing, understanding what certain things do, right? And adjusting, pill blocks, things like that, right? And what that's going to do to my car. It's a lot of work. So let's talk about who's setting up your car. How are you doing that on your own? How are you getting help? What do you got going on?
My dad, he used to race with me. When we first started, my dad would race with me. The second I started to get good and kind of take off from him, he stepped back from it and just became my mechanic. So most of the time, really all the time, he does all the work. Occasionally, I'll jump over there and do something real quick, but then he's just right back on it. So
yeah, is that kind of what he just enjoys doing, or did he realize like, hey, I can't compete with this kid anymore. I'm just going to sit back and turn the wrenches and kind of enjoy watching you out there.
It's that second one.
Okay.
A lot. And then that first one, yeah, I mean, I hope he enjoys it a little bit because I don't want to just like force him to do all this and like,
Well, if you guys are still doing it and he's still wrenching on the car, he's enjoying it. And, as a dad, you get a lot of kicks out of seeing your kids do what they enjoy. And so, I'm sure he very much enjoys seeing you up there on the driver's stand waxing people. So that's cool. Yeah. And as long as it's not him, that's even better.
No.
Yeah. You got dad wrenching on the car. Do you guys have like a cadence? Because as a driver, right, when your car's not maybe rotating through a couple of turns the right way, or you need some adjustments. I mean, are you guys able to have good communication that way, or does he kind of just take over?
I had a problem with that for a while where I would just be like, the car ain't doing what I want it to do. And then he'd be like, well, what do you want it to do? What's it doing wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just not doing what it needs to do. But I'm starting to get like, okay, it's doing this. So maybe, change the tires would help, maybe drop a camber link, something like that, just to give it that little more. So it's gotten better, but sometimes he's just like, all right, well, I'll do this and we'll see what it does. And I'll do this and I'll see what that does, which is fine because as long as it gets to a point where it's comfortable to drive, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You kind of, you come to the car, not the car come to you, or maybe I said that wrong, but yeah, I know what you're saying. You kind of just deal with it.
Yeah, I kind of need to, like you said, I need to meet with the car and not let the car, like, just get to where I need it to be. I need to get where the car needs to be.
Yeah, and sometimes that makes you even better racer, because I've seen guys that are running like a completely unorthodox setup, and it works for them. It's because they've figured out how to get, drive the car.
That's what I've heard. So, like, the top pros in, like, the off-road section of RC, they set up their car where it's so hard to drive that if you took the controller and tried to drive it, you wouldn't get halfway around the track without wrecking.
Right.
But they do that, from what I heard, they do it so when they push it, it'll be a little easier to drive because it's harder, slower, but it's easier when it's going faster.
That makes a lot of sense. of sense. And those guys, like, if somebody gets a hold of their setup, you get guys like me who would maybe copy that and go, yeah, I can't do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of,
that's the bad thing about like trying to like look at a pro setup and then put it on your car and then trying to drive it. It's like, how? What?
Yeah.
How does this? Why am I doing this again?
Yeah. You kind of figure it out for you and what suits your driving style best.
So Ryan's a technical guy, right? He knows these cars. He geeks out on that stuff. I'm the marketing guy. So I don't know about you, Ryan, but I'm getting a little nervous because this Aidan guy is like pretty charismatic. And like, if he realizes that if he launches a podcast, he's going to put us out of business. I'm not competing against him week to week if he's got his own podcast. I'm just folding this thing up because no, Aidan, super impressed, buddy. I mean, if the sponsors that you have or other sponsors in RC racing, if you're not looking at Aidan Ridgeway, I don't know what's wrong with you, man, because this kid can carry himself. He's a winner. I was just listening to the Dale Jr. download, and that's exactly what they were talking about. They're talking about, yes, you need to be a winner, but you need to be able to talk because you need to be able to support your sponsors. And they're in this, they're marketing partners for a reason, right? That's why it's called marketing partner, because they want you to market their products and they want you to sell them. And I'll tell you, brother, you got it. You carry yourself really well. I've been really impressed with, we're hitting you with all kinds of questions. You've never met us before, and you're just knocking it out of the park. So very impressive, young man.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Very well said. So speaking of sponsors, is there anybody else you got to get a shout out to or other people that support you?
There we go.
Oh,
now I'm fit for the occasion.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, there it is. He put on the shirt. This shirt says it all.
I had a feeling this was going to happen, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait for them to ask about it, and then I'll go off, put it on, and then come right back. We talked about Techno. Techno is like, they're the top, like, chassis sponsor. Tekin, they're the electronics. There's Ultimate, which is, I think, part of Beach. Do you know Beach RC?
Who doesn't know Beach RC?
Okay, I'm just making sure. But yeah,
for sure.
Ultimate is like Brent's engine, just like, his nitro engine, kind of his thing. And then there's Leadfinger, which is the bodies that are actually run on the car. And I think, if I'm being honest, they're one of my favorites. I love Chris Schaefer so much. He's like, he's the man.
Right. Absolutely.
We saw him at Wicked Weekend, and man, he always has a smile on his face. He's always happy. So, there's VRP, which is like a shot piston, kind of deal. And, those things are legit. They're top notch. There's J&T, like they provide us all our bearings, turnbuckles, just that type of stuff, just making the car feel and look a lot better. Then, all right, there's the Wolf Den. Yes, the Wolf Den. You've probably never heard of it because the way you just said. Okay.
Yeah.
The Wolf Den is led by a guy that we race with all the time. His name is Kyle Neary. Kyle is like one of the raddest dudes you'll ever meet in RC. But the Wolf Den is like such just a rad group of drivers that he has his own track, and we have like team practice days where we'll come down and just make everyone better to where on his level.
In essence, the way I understand it, this Wolf Den, this is like just some really good racers getting together to say, hey, let's make each other better and let's have a fun time doing it.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Like, I think we need a Wolf Den episode. We need to
that
get
could
them
be
all on here with Aidan and find out more about this. We need to get inside the den.
I'd like to hear these guys rap.
I'll hook you up with Kyle Neary. I can hook you up with him.
Kyle and the whole gang. We can get them all on here.
That'd be a little tough. There's like a gang of 30 drivers on that team, I think.
All right, we might have to break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Part 1, 2, 3, something like that. Right. Then there's Ogo and Peach State Hobbies. Peach State Hobbies is the U.S. distributor of Ogo tires, because Ogo, they come out of like Spain, I think. So they're like local. We race with them like every weekend, and they're just a distributor. So it's nice to have a tire that's like right there at the track with us.
Absolutely.
Then there's Raceline Designs. The guy that leads that is Tyrone Eccles. He's like a local hobby shop kind of guy, but he recently got like a website, so he's trying to expand it more. And I mean, he's always at the track. He's always, he always has a smile on his face, no matter what kind of situation he's in. He's just full pearly whites, no matter what. Then there's Paint by Smiley, which is, just our paint. I think he's out of Texas. Okay. He does like a spectacular job on getting our bodies painted up for us. And that's it right there.
That's awesome. That's one heck of a deal you got going on there, buddy, with all that sponsorship. That's awesome.
So let's ask you that, Aidan, and I got another question for you really quick. But have you heard of that, the RC Chili Bowl oval racing? Do you follow anything outside of the off-road stuff?
I don't really. Other than off-road, I'll like look at a carpet, like little tent scale track here and there, maybe like a clay track, like an indoor thing. Other than that, I've seen maybe one or two oval things, and that's about it. I've seen an oval track before, but I've never seen anyone really run on them, like right there in person.
All right. Well, I've got a little foam oval track here at my house. It's a 5th mile scale, 18th scale. You ever talk mom and dad and come to Wisconsin, there'll be a car waiting for you. You come do some oval racing with us.
Yeah.
But here's the real question I have for you. So you're 14, right? Mm-hmm. Loving this hobby and that, but obviously you're getting older. And 16, car is going to come along. Now you got freedom. Now you're out with friends. Now you're doing stuff. What does this hobby need to do to keep the interest of someone of your age after 16, 17, 18? What would you say, hey, this is what would keep me in the sport?
I just need to keep having fun with it. I just know the day I stop having fun with it, that's when it's all over. I just got to make sure I keep going to the track, have a good attitude, have fun with like my buddies at the track, and just make sure that it never goes to the point where I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to go to the track, or like, I don't really, I don't feel like it. That's when I know I just need to try and enjoy it, and if that doesn't work, then I just got to put it on the wall. I just got to stop. I just hope that right now, I hope that day never comes, but we'll just have to see what happens.
The key is keep having fun. I mean, that's the name of the game. Again, toy cars, right? Hang out with your buddies, enjoy yourself. That's awesome. And you get to win doing, along the way. So that makes it even more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're super competitive like you are, and you're running up front, I think it could be more the other way. Like, it's going to really take something solid to pull you out of the sport.
And I think you got it, Aidan, in the sense that, you speak well on behalf of your marketing partners, but in the sponsorships that you have. But I think what's really important is you get it in the sense that it's just toy cars. You're going out, having fun, hanging out with your buddies, that's really cool. So just, congratulations to you for all your accomplishments, and I'm sure you're going to nail down a ton more. So keep getting after it, buddy.
Again, on behalf of us and on behalf of the show, just thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It was fun. This was a good time.
Well, it won't be the last, buddy. Won't be the last.
Yep. You ever need me on here again, just hit me up. I got you. Yep. Thank you guys for having me on here.
Hey, thank you,
Absolutely.
Aidan.
It was fun, man. Well, Ryan, we've got on tonight what we'd love to do because we focus somewhat on the RC Underground, and we just had our first race of the season, the Midwestern 400 laps of racing, 2 pit stops, but it was unbelievable. I mean, the finish was so close. Top 3 cars were within just a couple laps of each other, but the winner of that race is with us tonight. Dalton, thank you for joining us. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you come to the Underground. First, you just reach out and say, hey, yeah, that's something I like to try. It's on my bucket list. I want to come out and run the Underground. So you come out for the first time just to come have fun, and you end up taking the 400 trophy. That had to be a good feeling, especially after that long drive.
Yeah, especially after a long drive like that, it's neat to come home with something. So something to show for it.
I got to tell you, as finishing, I finished P2 in that one. Your consistency, man. I knew when you were practicing and watching you get around the track, I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Like you were just super smooth out there. Your median times were awesome. I mean, I had nothing for you, and I was giving it pretty much everything I got and bouncing off everything I could to try and get there. But you were super smooth, and then afterwards, I don't like finishing second. I don't think anybody does, but you really did I looked at your Facebook page and I saw all the cars you had, all the 1RC cars. I was like, yeah, this guy's a ringer, I mean, after your driving style and all that. And I saw how smooth you were. And then the fact that you're pretty much, you got your hands in every 1RC car ever made. That was a good indication of, I should have looked you up beforehand, and then stayed home that day. Going back and watching the race on YouTube that George posted was really cool because learned quite a bit from your racing and your line.
Well, that's good to hear. I haven't watched the race. I didn't even know anything about it being on YouTube, so I might have to go check it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's just fun to go back and somebody who's never been there to watch them run their line and just take to it so quickly. So, if you will, share a little bit like how you prepared to come to the Underground. Is it similar to your home track? And then maybe tell us a little bit about your home track.
So my home track, which is actually about an hour and a half away, maybe 2 hours, but they race on office carpet. Before that, I raced at there's a place called Buzzer Bullring, and that was a foam track. So I did have a little bit of experience on a foam track. But I raced a late model on a foam track one time because I've only raced a 1RC for about a year now because around here it wasn't really that prevalent. So it's starting to pick up a little bit. We got 2 tracks relatively close by to each other. There's supposed to be a couple more coming. I just haven't really gotten any confirmation on that yet. As far as how I prepared, I mean, how do you prepare for a 400 lap race? I kind of winged it, really. I just like, well, do I put like soft tires on? Do I do the hard tires? You know, do I use glue on the tires? How much glue? Stuff like that. The pit stops kind of helped make my decision, especially since you know, we had the option of changing tires, so that kind of helped make my decision with what I ran. So it kind of helped that we ran one car instead of 8 cars. You know, different classes I'm talking, anyways. So I could focus on one car versus like a modified, a midget, a sprint car, and all that. I know when I first hit the track, I thought I was in trouble because my car would be good for the first couple of laps, and then it would want to loop around on me. So I had to figure that out. I just make a couple of setup changes to it, and she came around.
Did you end up going to the sauce? I know. Through part of the day, you said, "Yeah, no, I really don't run sauce." Did you stay that route, or did you change?
I stayed that route. What you would see me do is I was sanding the tires. I was taking the glaze off of it, and that's about all I did as far as tire preparation. So that's that's during the feature race. I didn't change tires. I just took the glaze off the tires and just throw it out there again.
Old sprint car trick you were using there, huh?
I've helped out a few people with their full size cars and picked up a few things.
Yeah, right on. That's awesome. You know, and then you let us guys just, you know, you let Nick go out there slopping on the sauce and let him grip up the track for you, and you know,
from that, and
you do see those tires glaze up like no other. And yes, simple trick, right? Piece of sandpaper, knock the glaze off them, and away you go.
It's the tire glaze is more prevalent when it comes to a foam track versus the office carpet, because we at our home track or my home track, it is not really that big of an issue. At least I don't think it is. I still do it anyway. I still sand the tires in between runs before the car hits the track, just because. So the tires are basically back to square one, right where they started before. So just try to eliminate as many variables as possible. So.
Yeah, traction roll definitely started, raising its evil head during that 400 lap, probably already into the eliminators. So, what'd you think of the track? What did you think of the facility? I mean, again, you drove 7 hours. I was like, holy smokes! Like, I hope he realizes this is like in the basement of my house, but. Hopefully it was a good show for you, and entertained you enough that we can get you back there sometime.
It's definitely cool. You got a big enough basement to do it, so it's pretty cool little setup that you got going on there.
I appreciate that.
You're thinking about coming to some more races, huh?
I'm thinking about it, just depending on my schedule and work and everything, just how things fall into place. I am planning on doing the Chili Cup in Colorado in February.
Awesome.
So I was going to try and hit the race in, I think, January, whatever that invasion race was. I heard the trophy was pretty cool. I was going to try and hopefully come up and try and get it, but I don't know if that's going to conflict with like my plans for the Chili Cup and whatnot. So we'll just have to see. I know I was going to definitely try and hit the 2 last races up there, or at least one of them.
Well, what I'm hearing from you is there's a few races in between, and I got a chance now, so that's good.
That road course race will be kind of interesting.
That's going to be rowdy. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Come on. You're looking forward to it, Ryan? Come on now.
Yeah, I listened to George. Right. I listened to the podcast because, I had nothing else to do. And I wanted to hear those guys on the air. So I listened to the podcast the other day when you launched it on Monday. And I'm like, you know what? If George is he amped up for this? I need to get amped up for it. And it's only one right turn. Like, come on, it's not the end. It's not going to be the end of the world. So we'll be all right. I think it'll be fun.
Sure. Well, we'd love to see you, Dalton, for sure at the RC Foam Oval Nationals at the end of the year. We're hoping to get all the big hitters, and now you've won down there, so you're one of the big hitters, along with Ryan and Nick and Murph, and we're hoping maybe JB Trickle's going to come. So be a great group of guys for you to get a chance to race against. But if you do come back for that, definitely you have to be one of the favorites going into it.
I mean, it'd definitely be an honor to race against those guys. I mean, especially Murph Dog. I mean, for what he's done for the sport, and especially with 1RC, it'd definitely be an honor to race against him. So the other people you've listed off, I mean, Ryan, he definitely had a fast car when we were up there. So
I just can't drive the damn thing. Come on, Dalton, you can say that. I'm not offended.
just slow down just a little bit.
I know. I got to back it up. I like squeezing that trigger. I'm going to take a little throttle. If you didn't know, I like to bottom feed. You know, to me, it's the quickest way around the track. And so I'd hit that corner into one, and it would disrupt the car. So literally, as I was entering, you know, my car's kind of up in the air. And as I'm getting ready in the center of the corner to hit the trigger, well, guess what? Now I'm coming back down on the ground, and she's digging in and biting and traction rolling. And I'm like, you know, you could get upset and say, well, we need to change the track. But I'm like, well, everybody else is doing it. So I've gone through, I made some improvements, you know, kind of picked up the ride height a little bit. And I think we'll be ready. And that's the thing. I'm not consistent. You were. So by nature, right, you've got a fast car and you're consistent. Guess what? You're going to win the race, right? I mean, that usually that's how it should shake out. And the rest of us we had some inconsistencies, and that's where you fall short. And you got to understand that, you know, median time is everything. And if we go back and we stare at the data, you know, you had the better median time, because I did. I wanted to understand, you know, what you were cracking off, and it was there, man. And that, you know, to me as a racer, like, you have to respect that. There's nothing you can do. You didn't take me out. There's nothing you did, you know, wrong. It was just pure consistency. And so kudos to you, man. Brought a lot of that car.
As far as like the track goes, even lap traffic, I mean, we all have to deal with it. Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those races where I mean, I'm not saying I didn't get into people. I mean, if I did, I apologize. I mean, that's how it is with RC racing. It's that happens. But I didn't intentionally get into anybody or anything, but it's just one of those races where, you know, you got to pass someone, you just pick the right time and moment, and you just get on with it. So
we rubbed a little bit, but that's all in good fun, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's like I got a new friend now. Now I got another guy that can come down in that basement and hang out with us, you know, we can shoot the breeze with, and you can pick on me because I'm, you know, like a BB in a boxcar all over the place on that track. But the coolest thing about it is we all have a mutual respect for one another. I love that part about this little sport that we're in this hobby and these toy cars, is that we can just go out and bang some doors with one another, shake hands afterwards, put a smile on our faces, and walk away. So that was cool. And the fact that you drove 7 hours to come hang out with us and get nerdy with these cars was really cool. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
Yeah, like I said, I'll try and do it again. Like I said, just works and schedule and all that fun stuff. So
I like the do it again part, but not the beat me part. So if we can work on that, you know, maybe I can slip you, you know, gas money or something, and we'll figure something out, buddy. I'll fill up your car for you. Just let me pass you.
Well, for what gas prices are, it might be worth it. We'll see.
Right.
Well, hey, Dalton, we know you just got home from work, and obviously you've had a busy week catching back up on work with after having to take some time from work to come racing with us, which, again, as we've said, we appreciate that. So, you know, we just want to thank you for jumping on here for a little bit with us tonight, talking some 1RC, some Midwestern 400. It was a pleasure to have you here, buddy. And you're your family. Now you're RC Underground family, and we'd love to have you back whenever you can make that trip.
All right. Yeah, sounds great.
I'm looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, can't wait till next time.
All right. You have a great night.
You've been listening to RC Underground Radio. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, drop us a line at rcuradio@gmail.com. We're curious to know, what do you like? What don't you like? Who would you like us to talk to?
Sounded really weird.
It was weird, but you know what I meant. We're talking about racing, so...
Okay.
You can find us on Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. See you next time on the RC Underground Radio Podcast.
I am a BB in a boxcar.